What's up guys, Chase here today from Renderite, and we're going to be doing a new tutorial today. We're going to be doing the Unreal Engine 5 Foliage Beginner tutorial. So I'm going to take you through the steps of setting up foliage, placing in some Megascans plants, and we're going to be using the brush and painting some foliage. So we're going to get down ready in this video, so let's go. Okay, so for starters, we are going to go to our Epic Games Launcher. I'm going to go to Library, and I've installed 5.4.2. So I've already launched that, and I'm going to select a third-person blueprint for starters. So I've gone and selected ray tracing and named my project Foliage. So let's go ahead and create that. It'll take a little bit of time, but once it's up and ready, we will get going. So it's just compiling all the shaders on the bottom left here. I'll go ahead and speed this process up for you guys. So now that we have our shaders loaded, just give it a second. Cool, all done. So we have our map here now. So I'm just going to go File, New Level, and I'm just going to create an empty open world. So click Create. I'm just going to click Don't Save on that one. Okay, so we have our empty level now. I'm just going to go up to Window, Environment Light Mixer. So we have our Environment Light Mixer here. So we're going to create our environment lighting. So we're going to create our skylight, we're going to create our atmospheric light, we're going to create our sky atmosphere, volumetric cloud, and height fog. So we can go ahead and close that box now. So we've easily created our environment lighting. So I'm going to show you a new tool here. I've got installed a plugin called Dash, which is up here. You won't have it because it isn't installed, but I'm going to click this. It's going to take a second to load. Once it's loaded, I'm going to just click in the search box here, and I'm going to type in terrain, and then here I've got create terrain. So it creates a simple procedural mesh to be used as a ground. So I'm just going to click that one. And now it's generated landscape mesh here. So it's given me this little box with a bunch of settings in here. So for example, if you want to increase the scale, you just adjust these sliders here or enter a number. So I'm just going to leave it at 1 because I don't want a really big scene. I just want to keep it quite small. And now I'm going to click on AI tagging. I'm going to change from current project to Megascans on this little drop down box here. And in here is all of my saved assets that are locally downloaded from the Megascans library. So this is an easy way to just drag and drop materials or scatter things on a surface. So I'm just going to scroll down and just look for a basic grass, maybe this one. So I'm just going to drag and drop. So now it's placed on my surface here. In my drop down box on the side with all the settings, I've got UV scale. So you can go ahead and adjust the UV scale here. So I'm going to change that to 2, maybe a bit more, say 3.5. Okay, that looks pretty good. And I'm just going to leave the settings for now because I'll just keep the bumps that are there. You can go ahead and go through the settings and adjust these. I'll leave a download in the description for Dash. So you can get a 30-day free trial to trial Dash, which is pretty cool. So you can go ahead and do that. Sorry for the cat meowing in the background, by the way. It's, yeah, kind of annoying. I've got 4 cats that are running around and, you know, making a bit of noise, so just mind them. So I'm going to go ahead and just close my terrain generator box here. Now, I'm just going to show you a quick example for Dash and how easy it is to just populate a landscape really quickly just for some scenes. So I am just going to go ahead and just drag and drop this. Actually, I'm going to redo that because I done that by mistake. So I'm just going to delete that. I'm going to hold Control. Give me a second. I just need to go sort these cats out because they're kind of annoying me. I just had to sort the cats out because they're just frustrating me. So I've got the grass here. I'm just going to hold Control and click and drag. And then it'll give you a menu here. This little drop down. So I've got scatter here, drop here, physics paint. I'll show you about these later on. I might do a separate video for Dash just because of the amount of stuff that's in it. But yeah, we can move on to that later on. But so for starters, I'm just going to click scatter here. So now you can just see that it's quickly just scattered some vegetation on the ground here. So you've got density, min scale, max scale. It's kind of obvious on what it means. You've got surface, so that's the surface that it's on, which is the landscape. And then you've got scatter, which are just all of the objects that are in that scatter, which is all the different grass objects. So yeah, we've got all those settings, but I'm just going to continue to populate my scene here. I'm just going to hold Control and click and drag those. Just going to scatter some of those there. It'll take a minute to load. Because if you haven't loaded some of these objects in your scene before, it'll have to load them in. Yeah, I think because the reason these ones are taking so long is because of the quality of them. So these are high quality, or nanite, I think. So it has to load in each variation. And it also depends on your PC specs for Unreal. But yeah, we've got it loaded in now. So you can see our rocks are placed in here. But we've got a little bit of an issue down the bottom where it doesn't seem to blend in with the landscape. So to fix that, we are going to just scroll down to sync, and we're just going to drag these arrows here. So you can see now that I have increased the sync, which has dropped the rock meshes into the landscape. And now you can play around with the min scale and max scale. So I'm going to try 0.25 and 2. Maybe not 2, maybe 1.5. Okay, so that's alright for now, and then I want to go in here and add some grass. So I am looking for the grass. So I'm just going to use medium quality. You've got these little boxes below. So if you've downloaded different qualities of the Megascans assets, it'll show them below here. So I've got high quality and medium quality. I've just selected medium quality for this example. But again, I'm going to hold control. I'm just going to make that a little bit smaller. Hold control, click, drag onto the landscape, and scatter here. So my PC is pretty good, but I still need to upgrade it so it can handle a decent amount of foliage in Unreal Engine, but it's pretty good for now. So I'll just show you if I increase this density though, just to 1. Maybe a little bit. 0.9. There we go, that's a bit better. So you can see now how quickly it is to place foliage in a landscape. Using Dash, obviously. So this is a quick beginner tutorial using Dash. I'm also going to show you how to use the paintbrushes from Unreal Engine in painting landscape. But I'm just going to place a couple more plants on here. Min scale, I'm going to increase that to 1.5, maybe 2, and density to like 0.25, maybe like 0.15. Increase the scale to about 3. You can also adjust noise scale. Hold on 1 second while it auto saves. So you can also adjust the noise scale, which just creates more variation in your foliage. Just gonna put that back to there. That's it for now, but you can see how easy it is to create an easy landscape using Dash. So we're going to move on to the UE5 part of placing foliage now. So I'm just going to go down to my Epic Games launcher, and in my vault I have a meadow environment set which is compatible with Unreal Engine 5.4. So I'm just going to add that to my foliage project. In the meantime, while that's adding to my project, I'm going to go back to Unreal Engine, and I'm going to go to the top left drop down box here and select landscape. Once I have landscape mode selected, I am going to select new, and I have all my details in here, but I'm not going to go into depth with that. I'm just going to click create. So now I have my landscape. I'm going to go back to selection. I'm going to select all my landscape proxies in here. And I am just going to apply a basic grass landscape material just for this example. So that's done now. Just going to check if, so that's been added to my project. I'm going to go down to my content drawer. We're going to first off start on showing you how to import foliage into our Foliage Painter. So I've added a filter here, which you can select up here, filter by static mesh. So I'm just going to click static mesh, and we have some of our foliage from our last part of the video, but I'm basically looking for the 3D plants, the meadow environment set. So I've got my vegetation from the environment meadow set. I'm just going to scroll down. I've got a bunch of trees, rocks, and a couple other plants up the top here. So I'm just going to go up to the top left here, go to foliage, and I'm just going to drag and drop my foliage into here. So when I do that, it's going to ask to create a foliage material, static mesh, sorry. So I'm just looking for a grass. It's going to add that one and that one. I'm going to drag and drop that into a foliage type. It's going to ask me to create a foliage type. So now that that is done, I'm going to select the two. The brush size will start off at like 5.6 or something like that, but I've just reduced it to about 20. Wait, maybe 50. Sorry. 50. And I'm just going to select the grass that I have here and increase the density. And now I can go ahead and paint. So it's just generating the shaders. I've got my grass here, but the scale seems a bit too big. So I'm just going to undo that and reduce this to about 0.6. So I've got my grass. I'm just going to increase my brush size to about 300 maybe. So there's some grass, which looks pretty good. Now I'm just going to add some trees in here. Just going to scroll down to my poplar. So I'm just going to drag and drop that into my foliage type. And I'll drag and drop another one. And maybe one more little one. Save. So I'm just going to deselect those two and select those. Whoa. Geez, what's happened here? So for these, I've forgotten to change the settings of the density and the paint density. So I'm just going to undo that. I'm going to adjust this to about 50. And adjust my scale. That's still a bit too much. So 5. .1. So I've changed my paint density to 0.1. And I'm gonna adjust my scale to about 4. 0.3. Yeah, that's a bit better. Then I'm just going to go and place some trees. So you can see how easy it is to paint foliage in Unreal Engine just using the standard UE5 settings. So we've gone through Dash and the UE5 Foliage Painter. So that's it for basically the beginner side of learning how to use the Foliage Material Painter and Dash. So yeah, keep an eye out on more videos that are going to be coming out soon. So I'm going to be doing some on using the Dash plugin, which is friggin' awesome. You can fully customize the crap out of a lot of scenes and get some really cool looking images. So we're going to utilize Dash and do a lot more on UE5. So yeah, stay tuned and remember to like and subscribe because that matters and that counts for me too. It's a big help and you guys are doing awesome by keeping that up. So yeah, thank you so much for the support and we'll see you on the next video. Cheers.